Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to my channel. It's been quite a while. I think my last podcast episode was like 2 Mondays ago. I'm not sure. Anyway, we got carried away with the holidays, and I hope you're all enjoying your holiday breaks. And it has been quite a remarkable 2021. I mean, in contrast with 2020, I think 2021 is a lot better, I hope, for most of us. And of course, it has its ups and downs, but I hope that everyone enjoy their holidays nevertheless. And to those who are, of course, who are also having a hard time at this point in time, don't worry about it. It'll pass. We are one with you. We are praying with you. And of course, for if you need someone to talk to, we are here for you. Our lines are always available for those who need someone to talk to. And before I proceed with my questions and stuff, I'd like to greet everyone a good evening. And of course, special shout out to my friend across the seas. She's in Canada. Hello, happy birthday to you, Nina. Thank you so much for constantly watching the recorded podcast episodes because you never make it to the live ones, but this one's for you. I hope you're gonna have a blast because it's just 8 in the morning in Canada. So hope you're gonna have a blast for today and enjoy your day. And I'm so happy for you. Your dreams finally came true. So I'm celebrating with you across the seas. And of course, I'd also like to greet the ones who are supporting the channel ever since day one. We started this channel. It's really not for me. To be quite honest about it, I was really apprehensive to build this channel because I'm actually a shy person, although nobody wants to believe me with that. When the pandemic started, this actually came to life and motivated me to continue doing what I'm doing. And of course, I will never make it without you. So I'm so happy. Thank you all so much for the warm wishes, for all the support that you've been sending my way. Thank you all so much. I also like to thank the ones who have been like watching the replays, and also the ones who are watching via YouTube channel. Yes, our podcast episodes are also available on YouTube. So if you don't have Facebook, you can definitely, or if you finally decide to get out of Facebook, don't worry, we'll still catch me on YouTube, and all of our featured speakers. They're all there. So all of our podcast episodes, you're never gonna miss them because they are on YouTube. So walang dahilan para hindi manood. Okay? Anyway, friends, hello. Magandang umaga. And good morning to Hi Jaylin. Thank you so much for constantly supporting our channel. And of course, to Miss Lynn. Yan, magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat. But of course, good morning dahil nasa sales tayo. Walang gabi sa mga nasa sales. And I'd also like to say hello to the ones who are silently watching. Maybe you're driving, or you're just listening, diba? Or maybe you're doing the dishes, or maybe you're having dinner. Dyan sa comment box, no worries. We'll be here for you. You will be listening to us for a couple of minutes, sharing some insights once again before we start 2021. And yes, to those of you who are watching right now, and it's your first time to see me, hello, magandang gabi po, and magandang umaga, magandang times na lalagyan ninyo. I'm Ivorine. I'm a licensed real estate broker in the Philippines. I'm also a motivational speaker and a writer, and I do this regularly, but recently I have been quite absent because of the holidays. But of course, we will never miss out on the best part of the year, which is wrapping up the year. Kailangan i-wrap up natin ang year so that we will know what to do next sa ating 2022, right? So, without further ado, sa dami ng sinabi ko, let me introduce our favorite featured speakers in my channel. Of course, this is a regular thing. No, once a month we have him, but we will still definitely introduce him. Although I know his reputation precedes him, like everybody knows him already. But we should still introduce para makilala pa natin siya lalo. All right, so let's introduce our guest speaker for tonight. He has been has been a salesperson for almost 40 years. His experience in sales was working as an account executive for the Filipino Education Company in the mid 70s. He traveled the whole Visayas and Mindanao selling books, after which he transferred to another company as a field sales manager and was later on promoted as a national sales manager. And of course, the rest is history. Right now, I call him as the mentor of mentors, the legendary. Let's all welcome back on our show, back on our podcast episode, Mr. Jun Garing.
Good morning,
Good morning, Mr. G.
Ivy. Welcome again to
Nag-echo lang po yung
our
ating
meeting of the champions. So unahan na kita ha. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year! Isang ano na
Yes.
lang, isang araw na lang.
Oo, tama-tama. This is the 125 year ni Dr. Jose Rizal. So exciting yung program natin.
Oh,
Bubuhayin natin siya.
that's right. Of course. The death anniversary po, tama po ba? Yan, lilinawin natin kasi parang people are saying happy birthday, but it's his death anniversary. Ayun. Sorry po, nag-echo lang po yung isang ayun. Thank you po. Okay, so
Ayan,
pasensya
medyo
na
wala
ganyan
ng
po
echo.
talaga kapag yes po. Pasensya na po sa ating mga audience, ganyan po talaga pag live, may mga technical glitch po tayo. Nevertheless, we don't stop the show. So Mr. Garing will be sharing our screen and I'll give it to you now. Okay, sorry, one more. Okay. There. Take it away, Mr. G. All right, take it away, Mr. G. Can you see the screen po?
Yes, nakikita ko.
Ayan.
Oo, sige. Para yata binagyo yung ating internet connection ah.
Oo nga po eh, medyo mabagal yung internet ko. Pero it's, can you see the screen na po?
Naririnig mo ako, Ivy?
Yes po. Very clear. Okay na po. Na-share ko na po yung screen. We can start po.
Hmm. Ivy, naririnig mo ako? Ivy, narinig mo ako?
Yes po. Nakikita niyo po yung naka-share sa screen? Can you hear me po? Okay, to all of our audience, I know that it's quite a bit of a challenge. We are having a technical glitch, so please stay tuned. We are just fixing our internet connection. Okay. And of course, we would like to thank our audience who are graduates of the JGS, or the June Garing, some of you actually in the audience. So magandang umaga sa inyong lahat. Thank you so much for tuning in. We will be waiting for Mr. G to finally settle down with his internet connection kasi we're having a glitch even before the program started. So, yeah.
Ivy, narinig mo ako?
Naririnig niyo na po ako, Mr. G?
Nawawala, nawawala.
Yes
Hindi,
po.
merong connection.
Yes, po.
Ayan.
hope you did not lose your patience over there. We're still here. Anyway, our topic for tonight is all about 2021 and what we're going to do in 2022. Just waiting for our connection to finally meet normal. It's challenging, like even before I'm sitting out screen so that we can hear him.
Naglolo ko yata, no?
Oh, hear you. And I'm back again. OMG, I'm not sure if we can pull this off, but it's been insane. Alright. And again, I'm back to our channel, to my channel. I hope you're having a wonderful celebration of the holidays. Sorry about the glitch, we're still there. And how's your day? Can you hear me now? Parang kaming may problema yung internet. Oh, there.
Ay, ingay. Ingay.
Can you now, Mr. G?
Ayan, malinaw na sa wakas. Naririnig mo na ako? Hmm.
Working.
Ay,
Oh,
naririnig kita.
yeah. Mr. Garing, naririnig niyo po ako. You may start na po.
Narinig na kita. Narinig mo ako?
Yes. Yes po. You may start na po. Naka-share na po yung screen.
Okay, sige. Pasensya na kasi talagang dalawa kasi yung ginamit ko kaya medyo yata nagko-conflict between the laptop at saka itong mobile. But anyway, Ah, hindi ako nakahabol. More or less na-discuss mo na yung basically yung lesson learned natin for 2021, IB. Sige, let me just share with you. Ito po yung advanced sales program namin na tama-tama hong gamitin for 2022. Uh, so the title of the program, ito ho yung tinatawag naming strategic account management or key account management. So ito yung aming pinaka-premise. Let me give you the premise. Sige, let me read the premise. Whatever got you where you are today is no longer sufficient to keep you there. So kung i-relate ho natin, kung ano man yung ginagawa natin prior to COVID, talagang iba na ang mundo ngayon because of the major disruptions. So very important to analyze the market, analyze our organization, and I felt na this program will suit the requirements of 2022. So ano po ang concept na ito? Sige, bibilisan ko lang ho ito because actually this is a 2-day program, but let me just summarize this into the next probably 15 to 20 minutes. So basically, the name of the game is change, no? Sabi nga natin, it's the only thing permanent in this world is change. And sabi nga natin, for those of you who are afraid because of the changes, it's frightening. Lalo kang matatakot. For those of you who are mediocre, average, then change is threatening. But for those of you who are confident, for those of you who are competent, and for those of you who are enthusiastic, then change is challenging. Change is exciting. It will spell out new opportunity. So, given the change for the new normal, which is the abnormal, no? From the face-to-face to remote management to ngayon, sabihin na natin 80 to 95% of the time talagang screen-to-screen reality na tayo. Gone are the days na talagang 80% face-to-face tayo and 20% lang talaga yung administrative side. So, what do we do given the changes? Ang pinaka-popular terminology nito is sabi nga natin, we are in the state of Cuba. Siguro familiar kayo doon sa VUCA. But para lang madaling matandaan, I made it into Cuba. Meaning, this is the world of a lot of certainty, a lot of a lot of complexity, a lot of uncertainty, a lot of volatility, and ambiguity. So how do we solve the present challenges? So sabi nga natin, if the environment is complex, simplify it. If the environment are full of uncertainties, how do you make yourself feel secure? And if your environment is volatile, so very important yung stability. And if there is an ambiguity, ang labanan ngayon is surety. In other words, wala na yung mga long-term visioning, no? Parang short-term na lang ngayon. Parang mas sigurista na yung mga tao. Dati-dati, the challenge is when we motivate our people, ano bang gusto mo ngayon? Ice cream today or bicycle tomorrow? But karamihan ng response ngayon, because of the situation, mas mabuti pang sigurado. Kesa, hindi pa ako sigurado kung anong mangyayari 3 months, 1 year from now. So basically, ganun ang concept nito from complexity, turn it into simplicity, from uncertainty, make sure you have a feeling of security, and from volatility, make sure you have to provide stability And if there is an ambiguity, ang gusto ng tao ngayon, surety. So how do we cope with change? So there are key areas, no? Tingnan natin. Sige, next slide. Ano ba yung mga changes na nangyayari ngayon? So given the changes, anong importante? We have to develop strategy. So specifically in our selling field, nagbabago na ang marketplace. No? Number two, the second changes na kung mag-a-analyze tayo is yung customer base mo. Number three, nagbabago na rin yung ating product line. Dumadami na ang competition. Number five, our position in the marketplace. And number six, kailangan baguhin na natin yung ating marketing strategy. So pag sinabi nating strategy, there are two areas that we have to be aware of. Sige, next slide. So basically, ito po yung concept ng strategic selling. Ang tawag ko dyan, SAM. From the previous AIDA, the tactical type of selling, which is the AIDA, no? How do you get the attention, stimulate the interest, build desire, and action? Since everybody is doing the same thing, ang labanan ngayon, ito tinatawag nating SAM. Paano mag-alaga at mag-develop ng mga key account. So we divided into two kinds of customer. Yung mga key account, very, very important yung acronym na EMA. So ano ibig sabihin ng EMA? You have to eliminate marginal account. In other words, yung mga maliliit because of the digital marketing, more or less computer to computer na lang yan eh. Hindi mo na dating masiserve na mabuti. So sabi nga, katulad ng kliyente namin na isang big pet food manufacturing, no? Nagdi-develop na lang sila ng mga distributor sa certain area so that yung mga maliliit, nire-refer na lang nila. Ito yung tinatawag ng Walmart at saka ng IBM na you have to reimagine your business. And number two, yung mga key account, ang tawag diyan si EBA. So in other words, para joke-joke lang, pag si Aida at saka si Sam, kinumbine mo. In other words, the basic of selling, which is Aida, and the advanced selling, which is Sam, strategic account management, pag kinumbine mo yung dalawang concept na yan, magkakaroon ng dalawang anak, no? Si Emma at saka si Eva. Anong gagawin mo dun kay Emma? You will now eliminate marginal account. At yung mga malalaki mo, you have to establish an emotional bank account. Sa Tagalog, paano ba magkakaroon ng utang na loob? Yung mga key account mo. So, yun ang concept ng strategic account management. Sige, next slide. So, dati-dati, ang traditional purpose of marketing is product-centered, no? Review natin. Diba? Purpose, yung place, yung pricing, yung product development, at saka yung promotion. Yan ang traditional product-centric marketing. Sabi nga natin, iba na ngayon. Mas importante yung customer. That's why they call it 4Cs of marketing. So ano yung concept ng 4Cs of marketing? Sige, next slide. So ano ibig sabihin ng 4Cs of marketing? Number one, is no longer the place but the convenience, no? Sabi nga ng Coca-Cola, AAA. The name of the game sa mga consumer distribution is AAA, yung accessibility, yung availability at saka yung affordability. So yung convenience hinahanap ngayon. Then next, hindi na pricing, no? Paano makakatipid yung customer sa iyo? So it's the cost of doing business with you. Number three, so it's no longer product development, but more or less, how do you manage the modern expectation of the modern seller? No? That's why it's called yung customer needs ang aalagaan natin. And last, instead of promotion, ang tinitingnan ngayon is your communication. So these are basically the 180 degrees changes from 4 P's of marketing to 4 C's of marketing. Sige, next slide. So given all the environment, given all the changes, so the name of the game, ano ang gagawin nating strategy? Sabi nga natin di ba? The word strategy comes from the mind of the general. So dito na makikita yung iyong planning, research, no? Parang sabi nga natin, pagka strategy, ang tawag namin diyan, it is the Air Force pag marketing. Pagka selling, ito yung mga Marines, Scout, Ranger, no? So that's the difference between strategic at saka tactical. So anong 2 parts of strategy? So number 1, so ano yung strength mo? What is your strength that you can use it as a leverage? And you are going to capitalize on the present opportunity. Ano naman yung tinatawag na next? Sige, next. So anong key ideas ng strategies? So very important. Ano ba yung opportunity right now? How do you diminish the importance of the competition? Sabi nga ng malalaki, do not compete, dominate. O, di ba? Yan ang mga labanan ngayon ng mga global at saka mga regional organization. Don't compete, dominate, no? Parang BDO at saka BPI. Halos lahat yata, dati-dati isang branch lang, no? Pero ngayon papaligiran ka, no? Para ma-dominate nila yung market. That's how they do it. They don't compete, they just dominate. Sige, next slide. So how do you develop a strong strategy? First of all, know your red flag. In other words, ano yung iyong mga caveat? So meaning, how do you minimize uncertainties at saka mga threat? What are the key ideas? Number 1, sometimes sabi nga natin, it's an age of consciousness. So very, very important ngayon yung analytics, no? Yung mga information. So very, very important. Kung hindi ka sigurado, parang hearsay, red flag yan. In other words, kung hindi ka sure sa yung information, it's critical. At kung hindi ka sigurado, that's also a red flag, no? So hindi pwede rito yung mga sometimes people are doing speculation, not investment, no? Kung sa real estate, pag nag-i-invest ka ba talaga o you're speculating? That's why kailangan very clear yan. In other words, are you making a marketing plan or are you making a manipulation plan? So parang ganun, it's how you analyze your market. Sige, next. So step 1, very, very important. Sabi nila, one goal at a time, no? That's why ang unang tanong, ano ba yung iyong single sales objective? What do you want to achieve in terms of your product, in terms of your services? So kailangan very, very specific. That's why it's called single sales objective. So ano ibig sabihin ng single sales objective? Sige, next slide. It must be product or service oriented. It must be very, very specific. It should be clear, clearly defined, concise, and also, very important, may timeline. So, very, very important. So, parang, basically, sabi nga natin, parang smart, di ba? Yan ang parang smart goal setting. It should be specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, at saka time-bounded. Yan ang mga traditional form of smart when it comes to goal setting. Sige, next slide. Sige, di natin gagawin yan, no? So normally when we conduct this training, every idea, it's a workshop-based program. Kasi it's more of a strategic analysis eh. Sige, next slide. So, first question. Kaya nga ang team natin, Euphoria, no? How do I feel right now with my single sales objective? In other words, if you are given a 30 days, 90 days, 1 year target, ano yung iyong gut feel? So sabi nga, ang +5 is euphoria, ang -5 is panic. Kaya nga ang expression namin, after panic of 2020 and 2021, dapat ang feeling natin euphoria. Sige, next slide. Now, let me share with you the 6 key element ng strategic account management. Kung traditionally, yung sa ating mga direct selling, in the case of real estate, or any product or services that is a direct selling approach, ang terminology natin, ang process natin is, di ba, yung prospecting, approach, qualification, presentation, demonstration, handling objection, at saka closing. When it comes to key account, iba ang terminology. First, you have to identify sino-sino ba yung nag-i-influence. Kaya ang tawag dito, buying influence. In other words, who will influence in making the decision? So, bibilisan ko lang ito. There are 6 type of buying influence, no? Sige. So, first, you have to identify. So, ano yung 4 types of buying influence? Number 1, any market that you want to identify. Example, no? Example lang ako, best specific, in real estate. How do you sell real estate as an investment? So very, very important to identify at least 4 types of people. Number 1, yung tinatawag nating, iba, nung araw ang tawag yan, decision maker. Pero in a corporate environment, ito yung tinatawag na economic, these are the economic buyer. Mostly owners, no? Or the president or the chairman, no? Number 2, yung end user, yung gumagamit ng produkto mo. Kaya ang tawag dito, the user. Number 3, yung mga technical people, no? Who can say no, but they cannot say yes. Kasi more of specs sila. And the most difficult to find out in any organization, kailangan daw maka-identify ka ng coach. So these are the 4 buying influence that you have to identify in any key account in terms of corporate selling. Sige, bibilisan ko lang itong mga susunod, no? Ito yung mga details eh. Sige. So again, pag sinabing economic buying influence, ito yung may veto power. When everybody says no, I can say yes. When everybody says yes, I can say no. Bakit? Ako may-ari eh. So parang ganon. Sige, next. So user buying influence, ito mostly personal kasi sila ang gagamit ng produkto mo eh. Sige, third, kailangan maisip, malaman paano sila mag-isip, no? So, mga technical buyer influence, sino to? Ito, pwede yung executive secretary, pwede yung HRD, pwedeng personnel, or pwede yung mga purchasing manager, no? So, these are the people who makes decision based on specs. Does your product match our requirements? So, based on specs sila. Sige, next. So, yung coach. So, ito yung sikreto in any corporate selling environment. Kailangan maka-identify ka ng coach. Bakit? Pagka-coach, talagang ang concern niya for the organization, either for you or for the organization he work with. Ang magandang i-identify ng coach, yung bang pagka mga executive ka sa isang organization, tapos meron siyang gustong gawin, kasi hindi naman siyang may-ari, hindi niya na-accomplish. So parang hindi kumpleto ang buhay niya. Kasi parang hindi niya nagawa ang dapat niyang gawin dun sa organization where he worked with. Kaya yun daw ang pinakamagandang coach, no? Na ma-identify mo in a big, big corporate organization. Sige. Then, once you identify yung mga four types of buying influence, kailangan malaman mo yung kanilang degree of influence. So, very simple lang naman ito para malaman mo. Sige, next slide. Tatlong klase lang. Sige, next slide. Oh. So, anong ibig sabihin nito? High influence ba itong tao? Pag sinabi niya, susunod na lang yung may-ari. Second, medium, may committee pa, no? Marami pang bureaucracy. Ang dami mo pang i-convince diyan. Kasi medyo-medyo ang kanyang influence. And the last, bibigyan kita ng tip, pero wag mo sabihin ako nag-tip. In other words, natatakot, no? So pagka mga ganun tao, medyo low influence lang yan. So very, very important, malaman mo yung degree of influence among all those four types of buyers. Sige, next slide. Then the second key element naman, these are some factors that affect the degree of influence. Sige, bilisan na lang natin yung... So in other words, pag pinag-aralan mo yung organization, these are the 7 factors na uunawain mo. Kasi in any organization, may mga TERP yan, di ba? May mga reporting procedure, may mga authority, may mga level of authority. So these are the areas that you have to consider to find out their degree of influence. Sige, next slide. Number 2, ikalawang key element. Meron naman tinatawag na buying mode. Anong sabihin ng buying mode? Nung kinausap mo, in other words, when you contact them face to face, ano yung kanilang buying mode? So let me share with you 4 types of buying mode. Sige, bilisan natin yung slide. So next slide. So there are the 4 types of buying mode, no? Number 1, yung bang kliyente mo nasa growth stage? Yung bang kliyente mo nasa trouble stage? Yung ba nasa medyo-medyo, even kill? O ito yung overconfident stage, no? So very, very important to identify kung anong stage yung kliyente mo as of now when you visit them first time, no? On a face-to-face, no? Of course, with the data information, sometimes you don't need to see them, no? With all the age of consciousness, all information, almost all are available. Sige, next slide. So, number one. So, ito lang yung analogy. May target siya. Kung ako, kung ako yung head ng marketing, meron akong target. Meron akong quota. But in reality, nasa gitna ka. So, sabi nila, magandang bentahan ito kasi there's a gap. You are able to identify a gap between reality at saka yung gusto niyang ma-achieve. Kaya, di ba, magandang bentahan yung mga ganong klaseng kliyente. Number two, yun namang nasa trouble mode, ito yung reality sa gitna, pero in reality, bagsak ang benta because of the past 2 years sa COVID, no? Ang laki-laki ng hiningi mo ng sweldo mo, sabi mo magaling ka, ba't di ka naka-deliver? So magandang bentahan yan kasi nasa trouble stage yung executive na kakausapin mo. Third, ano naman yung mga even kill? So ito yung nakakakota naman no? So parang result at saka yung reality more or less very close. Kaya ang sabi sa iyo, pare, wag mo na kaming pakailaman, no? Don't rock the boat. 'Di ba nakakakota ko? We're still making our sale. We're still making our target, no? So yun ang mga even kill, no? In other words, komportable na. Ang pinakamahirap bentahan, itong ikaapat, which is what we call the overconfident mode. Bakit? Ano sinasabi niya? Ito yung resulta niya, pero in reality, ayaw talaga niyang ma-deliver yung talagang volume. Kasi baka daw mahirapan siya on the following month or the following quarter, no? So parang yung target niya, hindi talaga niya ibinigay lahat. Kaya nga ang tanong niya, yan ang pinaka-question. Who wants your proposal? I have never been had it so good, di ba? Huwag mo na kaming pakailaman, di ba? Over the quota na ako. So ito yung pinakamahirap bentahan daw yan. So these are the second factors to consider in analyzing your client or target client mo. Sige, the third element. Ito naman yung third element that i-analyze mo. So in other words, pag nakausap mo yung tao, ira-ranking mo sila. Siya ba positive vibe, enthusiastic advocate, or negative vibe, antagonistic sa'yo, meaning hawak na ng competition mo. Naging kumari na, naging kumpare na, or many years na silang kliyente. Mahirap yan. But in between, at least you have the idea kung anong pagka inanalyze mo yung kliyente mo. So, from positive 1 to positive 1 to negative 1 to negative 5. Kayo nang makakaalam yan. Sige, next slide. Now, ito yung pinaka-challenging, no? Na ito yung natutuhan ko na sa Motorola University na magagamit mo lalo na ngayon in closing. Sige, let me share with you the win result statement. But let me define first. Sige, next slide. So, ang ibig sabihin ng win result statement, dalawa yung beses, no? You have to identify kung paano yung kausap mo personally win. In other words, personal, no? Yan ang ibig sabihin ng win. Ang result, next slide, ano ang magagawa mo sa organization? So, yun ang concept nito. That's why you have to create a win result statement pag nakausap mo yung iyong target market o yung iyong mga decision maker o yung mga buying influence mo. So, ano ibig sabihin ng win result statement? Ito, next slide. Gagawa ka ng phraseology, a short statement wherein pag nagawa niya ito, parang meron siyang emotion, maganda yung feeling niya. And at the same time, maganda sa organization, may resulta. So what's the secret? Ikukombine mo yung dalawa. So mamaya, I'll share with you paano itong process na to. Sige, next slide. Okay. So ano ba talaga gusto nating ma-achieve? Sabi nga natin win-win relationship. Ito na ngayon ang minimum expectation. Masasabi nating win-win kung ito yung apat na mangyayari. Number one, the customer are satisfied. Yan ang mga minimum requirements, no? Number two, you're getting repeat business, renewal. Number three, without asking, bibigyan ka ng enthusiastic referrals. And of course, you will be establishing a mutually rewarding long-term relationship. So these are the minimum requirements. Everybody is doing the same thing. Sige, next slide. Again, exercise ito ng win result statement. So ganito po yung exercise para malaman nyo kung paano magagamit. Sorry, tingnan nyo ito yung keywords, no? Ang traditional nito yung FAB. Yung traditional selling na ito yung feature, ito yung advantages, ito yung benefits. Pero pag ginawan mo ng win result statement, very important itong mga keywords na ito. Example. So again, I'll just give example sa real estate, no? Halimbawa, pag na-identify ko yung buying motive ng kliyente is the location. In other words, location, location. So I will start my win result statement with this. Because you choose a location that is close to the main road, example lang, no? Kung commercial property or subdivision na doon ka kumuha na mas malapit sa mga main road. So you can start with that kind of statement. Because you choose a location that is closer with a major road o yun ang feature, anong advantage? Start with the word you can. In other words, you can rest assured na mas mabilis yung appreciation kesa yung mga location nasa mga malalayo. And then, here is the keyword sa win result. Yung key result, what it means to you. So, tandaan nyo, when you make this kind of, ang tawag ko dito, punchline mas maganda yung pakinggan sa kliyente. Kasi you combine the personal win and the result for the organization. I'll give you an example very close to my heart. No, when my eldest son, fourth year college, no, kailangan makagraduate siya. IT siya, IT networking as a IT networking. No? Luckily, I was in the States during that time. And meron silang one semester, ang gagawin sa'yo, magbebenta ka ng software. You have to sell software in one semester. So, the traditional way, tinignan ko kung paano sila gumawa ng presentation material. No? The traditional way, no? Talagang enumeration type. In other words, when they describe their software, ini-enumerate lang nila yung mga feature. At saka anong advantages for every feature. Hanggang doon lang sila. The feature, the advantages, and the benefits. No? Pero kulang sila ng tinatawag na personal win. So nung inanalyze ko yung kanilang presentation, kasi team sila no? Team. Yung anak ko in charge in terms of making the corporate presentation. They were selling yung Alert-O-Matic. It's a software for traffic na nandiyan sa Philippines na yun na bago ka palang pumunta doon sa area, meron silang mga signage na malalaman mo agad kung ano yung nangyayari, parang Waze, no? Alam mo na yung mangyayari doon sa mga pupuntahan mo in terms of mga road, etc. So, sabi ko, ano bang problema nung kliyente nyo? Sabi niya, ang problema, they're using an old software and therefore it's mabagal. Anong impact sa kumpanya? may overtime sila at nakakauwi sila sa bahay nila more than 5 o'clock. In other words, may overtime eh, no? Kaya alam ng mga Amerikano, 8 to 5, 8 to 5. Talagang very strict yan. So doon nakakuha kami ng win result statement. So what I did, tinuruan ko siya to create this win result statement. Parang ito yung kanyang closing spiel. Ito yung kanyang punchline. So sabi ko, sauluhin mo ito. After all the product presentation, di ba, kailangan gawin mo to. So binigyan ko siya ng script. Sabi niya, andun yung decision maker, yung may-ari nung kliyente nila na bebentahan ng team nila, no? So sabi niya, because our software is top of the line, latest. O yun ang feature, no? Top of the line, latest. Anong mangyayari? You can retrieve the data or you can make an immediate decision. Kasi mabilis yung processing eh. Kasi nga, mabilis yung kanilang software. Now, what it means to you personally or to the organization? What it means to you will save a lot of overhead expenses. Kasi wala nang overtime. And yung mga employee nyo, makakauwi ng mas maaga, and then they can spend more quality time with their families. Ayun, na-hit niya because of this formula, win result statement. You know ang ibig sabihin niyan. Anyway, pag nag-workshop yan in our program, pinapagawa ko sila ng sarili nilang punchline. No? Depende sa produkto, depende sa services. Sige, next slide. Bibilisan na lang natin. Alam ko na-delay tayo because of the problem sa akin. Now, let's talk about the competition. So, dito matututuhan mo, there are 4 types of competition. Kasi nung araw, ang competition, di ba, parang ilan ang player, ilan ang supplier. Pero, nung natutuhan ko to, there are 4 types of competition. Sabi nila. In other words, mga options. Ano yung mga options nila? So, these are the 4 types of competition. Number 1, yung traditional. Sino yung other players? In other words, sino yung mga shortlisted? Top 3, top 5. Di ba? Normally, yun lang ang tinitingnan natin eh. Number 2, another form of competition. Because of the COVID, they do nothing. That's a competition. Number 3, they don't need you. They can use internal resources, no? Ang tawag nung araw dyan, jobbers, no? Kahit exclusive ka, nakaka-search ako ng supplier sa different countries because of the globalization, di ba? And number 4, yung budget mo, mas magaling yung ibang department nakuha. In other words, meron kang internal competition. So kung hindi mo i-analyze itong 4 na ito, externally at saka internally, hindi mo alam, marami ka palang competition. There are 4 types of competition. So yun ang ibig sabihin ng analyzing the competition. Sige, next key element. Next is, ano ba yung position mo versus competition? 4 din, no? So number 1, are you the only alternative? Are you the front runner? Number 3, shared, live and let live. Number 4, zero. So, kailangan daw ma-analyze mo yung iyong position versus competition based on these 4 areas. Sige, next slide. Then, ano naman yung tinatawag niyang ideal customer profile? In other words, sino ba yung market mo na gusto mong iserve, no? Sino yung iyong PTM? Sino ba talaga yung primary target market mo? So, yun ang concept ng tinatawag na ideal customer profile. Sige, next slide. So, ito, magre-reflect ka daw. Number 1, yung company reputation. Sige, yung kanilang ethics. So, ito yung areas you have to consider. In other words, pag nag-shortlisted ka ng gusto mong iserve, kailangan ito i-analyze mo based on this 7. Ito yung 7 factors to consider whether gusto mo siyang maging partner o gusto mo siyang iserve. Sige, next slide. Ito, very familiar kayo sa sales funnel, no? Just like nung araw sa mga direct selling, 20:4:1. Eh ngayon, with the internet, no? 100:1. O, di ba? So, sige, medyo familiar naman kayo sa sales funnel. Pero maganda yung pagkakagawa ng sales funnel na ito. So, sige, ano yung sales funnel niya? Sabi niya, ang sales funnel will give you an idea in terms of your time management at saka yung iyong resource allocation. So these are the two areas you have to consider when it comes to sales funnel. Gaano ba katagal? Gaano ba kalaki yung account? Ilan bang kakausapin mo? Locally, internationally, face-to-face, online. So very, very important. These are the things that you have to consider. So let me give you yung kanilang sales funnel na, sige, next slide. So nandito pa rin yung traditional selling, yung ating basic of selling. Divided into 4. You are still prospecting, you're still qualifying, you're still covering the base, and you are closing. So these are the 4 basic fundamentals ng selling. Sige, ito yung formula. Ito yung slide. Sige. So sabi nga natin, ang ahente lang hindi natatakot. Bakit? The whole universe is a prospect. Ang tawag ko doon, suspect pa lang yan. Pag hindi pa pumapasok sa funnel mo, suspect pa lang yan, no? Prospect or suspect. Ngayon, pag nakausap mo, na-qualify mo na, ilalagay mo na sa funnel mo. And then, pag na-identify mo na yung mga buying influence, yung kanilang mga mode, di ba ang ibig sabihin nun, nandun ka na, you are covering the base. No? Kinakausap mo na yung economic, technical, coach, at saka yung mga end user. And of course, yung nasa baba, ito yung tinatawag nating closable. Kung sa traditional selling, ito yung mga hot client. Pag sinabi namin hot client, in 1 week, in 1 month, mako-close na namin. Pag sinabing medium, aabutin ng 3 months. Pag sinabing cold, it will take 6 months. No? So that's how we divide our client. Hot ba to, medium ba to, cold ba to. Now, in terms of priority, sa palagay nyo, kung lalagyan nyo ng number yung 4 na yan, anong gagawin nyo? What is number 1 sa inyo? Halimbawa, you are managing 10 key account. Depende no, sa laki ng volume, laki ng account. Ilalagay mo yung 5 o 10 kliyente mo doon sa inside the funnel. So sige, next slide. In terms of priority. So sino yung mga, so in terms of the 4 priority, ito prospect pa lang ito. Ito kina-qualify ko pa. Ito kino-cover ko pa. Ito ko-close ko na. So ang number 1 is always closing, di ba? In other words, yung closable, i-close mo na. Yun ang una. And then, the attitude is replace them. That's why number 2 is replace them. Kasi kung meron kang mini-maintain na 10 account, yung isa na-close mo na, dapat meron kang 10 account na mini-maintain. Kaya after closing, number 2 mo is replace, prospecting ka na naman. So, yan ang pinaka basic formula ng sales funnel. Sige, probably mga last 2 or 3 slides na lang ito. Timing naman, pag tinanong ka ng boss mo, ito ang hindi masagot ng mga salesperson eh. Pag tinanong ka, o kailan natin mako-close yung account na yan? Di ba sir, malapit na. Ano, malapit ka ng matanggal? Hindi nila maipaliwanag. That's why very, very important na if you are working as an executive, marketing to key account, kailangan masasagot mo yan in terms of prioritization. Ito yung tinatawag nating champion's motto. How do you do the most productive thing possible at every given moment? Sige, next slide. So, timing, mga ano timing for priority? Sige, next slide. Ito ba urgent? Yesterday? Ito active? Bibili sir, kaya lang marami pong hinihintay, maraming nagbakasyon, maraming nawawala pa, etc. Sir, pinapasok ko pa sa funnel, working it in. Sir, hindi priority, later, no? So ito yung 4 areas, no? Pag tinatanong ka in terms of your time element, kailan ba natin mako-close yan? Ano bang status ng kliyenteng yan? So either of these 4, this is how you respond. Next. Hindi na, hindi na. So basically, IB, hindi ko na di-discuss yan. So more or less, yun na lang ang, kasi ang pinaka-end result nito, meron kaming malaking form na yung mga diniscuss ko in details, in one form, mapifill upan nila yan. In a one single, ang tawag namin dyan, strategic analysis form. No? So lahat ng areas na diniscuss ko, dun sa malaking form namin yan, ipifill upan lang nila yan. So in other words, lalo na ngayon, sabi nga natin na ang labanan ngayon, 3 areas, no? Sabi ng IBM, sabi ng Walmart, at saka sabi ng isang malaking food company sa France. Sabi nila, in today's environment, 2022, ang labanan ngayon is, sabi niya, number 1, how do you reimagine? Ang tawag nila, reimagine. Number 2, digitalization. At saka number 3, you will be creating a new value proposition. So the key, sabi niya, is resilience, adaptability, at saka agility.
Resilience,
So,
adaptability, agility.
yes, yun ang sinabi ng tatlo based on the McKinsey report ito nung 2021. No? Sabi nga nila, pinag-aralan nila, bakit daw yung IBM magaling pa rin, bakit yung Walmart magaling pa rin, bakit yung French food company magaling pa rin. Nung in-interview yung presidente ng IBM, sabi nila, what we did, nung nagkaroon ng COVID, in 48 hours, 95% of our employees, remote na, pinauwi na namin, home-based na agad. So, ganun daw kabilis ang IBM mag-react. Kasi sabi niya, we have 125 data center in 125 countries. No? So, ang bilis nila. Ang Walmart naman, ang ginawa daw ng Walmart, pinag-aralan nila yung mga current supplier nila. They have to reimagine the present environment. Lahat nila, kinonect nila yung computer by computer, which is the digitalization. And because of that, they were able to shortlisted. Yun talagang supplier na given the crisis, madali silang mag-adjust. At yun namang French company, what they did, they were able to parang nag-coalition yung 20 big food manufacturing sa France, and what they did, pinag-aralan nila yung environment kung paano makakapag-produce ng mas marami. In other words, they do a lot of soil tests para more or less mama-maximize nila yung productivity given the big tracts of land that they are planting or developing to supply the entire France ng mga foods at saka fruits at saka vegetable because they are the number 1 in France. So, IB, yun lang. So, sabi nga natin, just to summarize, given the 2021, ang pinaka-lesson learned natin is because of the COVID. No? Ang lagi ko sinasabi, because of the COVID, ang pinaka-impact ng COVID, ang tawag namin dyan, 3 C's. No? COVID is a cleansing. It's a wake-up call na talang we are, di ba, cleansing time para sa atin. And number 2, because masyadong busy na yung mga tao sa mga negosyo, yung ika-letter C, nawawala na yung companionship with the family, with the children. Kasi masyado nang busy ang mga tao sa trabaho-trabaho. And
That's
third,
true.
talagang tinawag na tayo, it's a wake-up call, hoy, hoy. Parang you have to go back, conformity. So those are the three C's na lesson I learned as far as COVID is concerned. Number one, it's cleansing. It's a detoxification. Mabubuhay ka pala ng 5 to 8,000 ayuda. Pwede palang isang kotse lang, pwedeng isang damit lang. Di ba? Di ba? Di ba? So, without the COVID, hindi masosolve yung traffic sa EDSA. Hindi maiisip yung ilagay yung bus lane doon sa right side. Number two, nakita na natin yung sky blue, nabawasan yung ang pollution. And kung sa specific tactical approach din, 3C rin ang ginagamit ko. Na before you do business, 3Cs pa rin. Number one, you have to show concern. Talagang tatanaw ka ng utang na loob dun sa mga tumulong sa'yo, given the crisis, di ba? So you have
That's true.
to show gratitude dun sa mga kliyente, kaya nga nag-exist ka pa. Number two, yung compassion. Bago negosyo, unawain mo muna yung kliyente. Huwag kang masyadong, pagka hindi makakolekta eh, di ba? Foreclose agad at repossess. And number three, worst scenario, talagang yung mga condolences. So yun pa rin ang concern, pagbabahala. Number two, yung compassion, yung pangunawa. And number three, yung pakikiramay, which is the condolences. So yun lang ang message ko, Ivy. At alam ko, nag-extend tayo because of the mahaba talaga yung
Technical glitch.
presentation eh. Tsaka mahaba talaga yung presentation na yan. Gusto ko lang mabigyan sila ng idea. Beyond breakthrough selling, there is more na matututuhan
Yes.
tayo, which is basically the sum. From IDA to SAM, yung key account, yung strategic account management. At para masanay mo doon, kailangan yung anim na areas, the element, the sixth element, kailangan masanay ka to analyze. Ano yun again? It's not prospecting, yung buyer's influence, number two, yung kanilang modality, yung mode, number three, yung kanilang, you have to know yung kanilang win result statement using the formula. Number four, kailangan i-analyze mo yung competition. Number five, kailangan malaman mo kung ano yung position mo in a funnel, position versus competition. Number five, yan ba talaga ang gusto mong iserve, yung ideal customer profile? So, yun lang, IB. And thank you and pasensya na sa ating mga technical glitches. But I
Okay
hope
lang
that
po.
we were able to share some ideas na medyo mataas yung level ng kanilang pagbebenta by managing mga risky account.
Right. Thank you so much po ulit, Mr. Garing. I'm really happy to learn once again kasi syempre as a sales practitioner, everyone has to, polish paulit-ulit na polishing ng ating mga information and also an update on whatever we have learned, whatever we can relearn, whatever we can unlearn and whatever we can learn. Yan, lahat yan laging nasa puso natin. Kaya nakakatuwa po. Thank you so much for sharing it once again. But I really like to emphasize what stuck with me tonight is the premise. Now whatever it was that got you where you are today is no longer sufficient to keep you there. It's really an eye opener. That's why I really paid attention to the entire presentation. Kasi totoo whatever we have learned, like ako, I have been in the industry for almost 16 years now. But whatever I have learned in the past, like for example, kung ano man yung mga natutunan ko bago nag-pandemic, nung nagkaroon na ng pandemic, it's no longer applicable at all. Marami ng pagbabago, especially for example kahit sa mga simpleng open houses lang. Yung open houses noon very common, ngayon hindi na. So there are a lot of things that change and I'm really struck by an eye-opener na hindi na mag-work yung mga nag-work before. Oo, nag-work sila noon, pero hindi ibig sabihin na bukas makalawa mag-work pa rin sila. So it's really great to listen to the presentation and polish some things that I've learned in the past and relearn and unlearn and learn something new. So thank you so much po talaga, Mr. Gary. And of course, to all the graduates of JGSPS, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you learned something new, and so sa mga medyo nakalimot, sana naalala yung mga natutunan in the past, and I hope you can also share whatever resonated with you, whatever you feel na nakatulong po sa inyo. Hopefully maka-share ninyo itong video. This will also be available on YouTube once it has been once it has been edited, kasi tatanggalin lang po natin yung mga glitch. But definitely you will also find this on my YouTube channel. It's also named as Ivory. Mr. Garing, thank you so much once again. And of course, Happy New Year! Happy New Year po sa inyo. Thank you so much for being a part of my 2021. And I hope to be a part once again of your 2022. And we'll we look forward to doing more projects and doing something like this again in 2022. Meron pa po kayong closing message?
Yeah. Oo, sabihin ko lang na ngayon mo mararamdaman talaga yung sinabi ni Albert Einstein na if you are doing the same thing and you're expecting different results, that's the, di ba? That's the true definition of insanity, lalo na sa
Yes,
panahon ngayon. That's
that's
why
true.
ang definition ko ng Euphoria, bakit Euphoria 2022? Letter E, it's exciting. Letter U, it's unbelievable. Letter P, it's perfect time. H, you must be hyperactive. Letter O, dito mo ipakita yung iyong outstanding performance. Letter R, dapat sabi nga nila, mag-reimagining ka na. It's a revelation. Di ba? It's a book of revelation. It's unfolding. Dapat talaga ipakita mo na the best of you. And of course, it's interesting. And sabi nga natin, astonishing. So yun ang mga naisip kong adjective para do sa the word euphoria. So thank you. Thank you again, Ivy. At sasabihin ko na rin na by next year, yung iyong boss at saka si Miss Tinet will be joining with us para more or less yung kanyang mission to uplift the image of the sales professional, lalo na sa real estate, na bago sila umalis, medyo baguhin yung kanilang style. Magaling lang sila sa magbenta sa kapwa Pilipino, but beyond the Filipino, hirap na hirap sila. So, yan ang expertise. I'm sure kayong dalawa ni Ivy, ni Tinet, mga expert kayo when it comes to world-class selling at saka world-class customer service. So, thank
Oh,
you,
thank
Ivy,
you.
and thank you.
Thank you, Mr. G. And of course, for inquiries regarding the training programs provided by JJSPS, please call Mr. Nathan Garing at 0917-466-5296. Or you can also send me a message through this Facebook page. I will direct you to Mr. Nathan. Ayan, kung meron man kayong mga katanungan, meron kayong mga inquiries about ebooks and the training programs, do not hesitate to get in touch with me or through the number that you can see on the screen. And once again, thank you so much for joining us tonight, and I hope you learned a thing or two. And if you did, I hope you share this video and to all of your colleagues as well as on your page. Baka may iba pang interested din pumasok sa sales industry but they don't know how to start. You can definitely motivate them by sharing some of the videos that we already did with Mr. Garing. Once again, everyone, Happy New Year, and I'll see you tomorrow for our wrap up of 2021. Tomorrow night po ulit at 8 p.m. Thank you, everyone. Enjoy the
Thank
holidays. God
you.
bless you all. Bye bye.